Good morning. We're going to make oatmeal porridge, but using a different method than we used on the previous video a few days ago. I'm going to start the burner. First thing we need to do is get the pan hot. I'm using a pan instead of a pot because it's a bit easier. The heat will transfer quicker to the ingredients that are in the frying pan versus a saucepan. So first thing we do, add a little bit of water. This jar full of water goes into the frying pan. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt, about half a teaspoon. And I'm going to also add some coconut oil, virgin coconut oil. Trying never to cook with extra virgin oil. It's a bit chilly, so the coconut oil is almost in its solid. So that's about 1 tablespoon of virgin coconut oil. You could use butter, you could use virgin olive oil, and that's going to heat up fairly quickly because there's only a very shallow layer of water. And the next ingredient is, these are whole oat flakes. A bit better than the milled oat flakes called minute oats, quick oats, microwave oats, instant oats, because it's in its entire form and it takes longer for the body once it's inside your stomach to convert it into sugar. But I'm not going to put much. I'm going to put about 3 small handfuls. Alright, there's the oat flakes. And I'm going to add, I have here, you can't see it, it's a small apple that I've washed and chopped into small pieces. That's also going in. And I have, because right now with the oats and the sugar, with the oats and the apples, it's a lot of sugar. Definitely a lot of good properties in these two foods, but once it gets into your stomach, it can very quickly turn into sugar. It will very quickly. Here I have washed and rinsed and cut up into smaller pieces. 2 Brazil nuts, about 10 or 12 almonds, a small handful of pumpkin seeds, and a small handful of sunflower seeds. This is protein and fat, which will balance out the sugar that's in the pan right now, and that will help a lot to stabilize the blood sugar. It will slow down the conversion into sugar because there will be more in your stomach being digested at the same time. So that's it for now. I'll put the lid on. I don't want to cook it for too long. Food maintains its natural nutritional qualities the less it's cooked. Raw food is the best because the food is in its natural original state. With this, you could have this raw. If you were to soak the oats overnight and then chop up your apple, put it in the bowl that you had the oats in. If you were to soak the nuts and the seeds overnight as well, I would put it in a separate container because that water that the nuts and the seeds have soaked in, I don't think it's healthy. I'm not sure. I haven't read any information telling me if it is or if it isn't, but the water is cloudy. So because I don't know, I don't take the risk. I'll soak them overnight, and then I'll remove that water, wash and rinse them again. And then you could add that to your bowl with the other raw food. It also depends on how well your body can digest raw food. It might be better to cook it for 1 or 2 minutes. Everybody is different. It depends on lifestyle, food you eat. Stress is a big factor that affects digestion. Many of us have heard we have two basic systems in our body. One is the fight or flight response, and one is the rest and digest response. If your lifestyle is very stressful, most of your day you'll be in the fight or flight response. If your body's relaxed, or if you can take 10 minutes or half an hour of relaxing, then your body gets to go to the rest and digest phase, which is much better. There needs to be a balance. We have a lifestyle that is usually stressful: work, family, what's going on in the world. So we can't really escape the fight or flight unless we live in a mountaintop and have no idea what's going on in the world, and someone brings us all the food we need to eat every day, which is pretty much impossible. So that's almost done. I don't want to cook it for very long. This is going to be my breakfast. I've turned off the heat. I'm going to let it sit for at least 10 minutes. I have a relaxed morning schedule. I can take the time to allow the water to be absorbed by all the ingredients. Now the rest of my breakfast, here I have one slice of bread from 2 days ago. I make bread using a grill and hot coals because I don't have an oven right now in this kitchen. There's a video available for you to watch. It's much healthier than regular store-bought bread. If you haven't read the information or seen one of the previous videos, one slice of regular white bread or whole wheat bread you buy from the store is equivalent to 1 tablespoon of sugar. What I mean by saying equivalent, if you were to eat 1 tablespoon of sugar, the effect on your body is similar as eating 1 slice of bread. So if you don't want to start your morning with 1 tablespoon of sugar, that slice of bread should be avoided. This is a very healthy bread. There's very little wheat flour. It's mainly nut and seed powders. So that's going to go into the frying pan as well. It'll just get heated. It's cooked, but it's going to get heated. It'll absorb some of the water that doesn't get absorbed by the oats and the nuts and the seeds. And the other part of my breakfast, I am going to put 1 tablespoon of this powder. It's called arracacha. It's a superfood. It's a root. A friend gave me this to try, and I believe this kind of superfood is better consumed raw. I've used it before in pancake, bread batter, and I'll put it on my meals as an addition after I've prepared the meals. Especially if I've made a meal and there's a bit too much liquid, I'll put a tablespoon of this and it will absorb the liquid. So that's the breakfast waiting time. I do have some information. I'm looking at my little notebook that I write stuff down so I can keep on point. I've mentioned before that the stomach wants your food to be already 50% digested, which means adequate chewing. one suggestion I give to people is you have your food in your bowl, you take the mouthful of food and put the spoon down. Chew your food, preferably without rushing it, allowing all the saliva and whatever other bacteria and enzymes are in your mouth to grind up the food before it goes into your stomach. So the stomach, to do its job properly, it wants the food to be already partially digested. And the number I read in one of the books I'm reading said 50% digested. A new number I'm going to give you is that it's better to not completely fill the stomach. The number I read is go up to a maximum of 70% stomach capacity. So there should be a little bit of space left inside the stomach to allow it to do its job comfortably. And the example I brought up, the example I thought of, which might ring with you, which might connect with your awareness. Imagine you're traveling at rush hour. You're in public transportation and it's full. There's standing room only and there are people everywhere around you. So this is full. This is, imagine it's your stomach full. Maybe you're hanging on to the handle. Versus traveling without the rush hour, and you're a lot more relaxed. You can grab on, maybe you can move a little bit, and that's maybe a comparison that'll help. The stomach being completely full and unable to move around, do its job, or the stomach being more relaxed and having ample possibility, ample space to do the churning necessary involved in digestion. And the last thing I want to say is if you do buy nuts and seeds, it's better, and dried fruit, it's better to keep them in the fridge or the freezer. I know many people go to those bigger department stores and buy a 2-kilogram jug of almonds, for example, or a 1-kilogram jug. When that vacuum seal is still intact, the nuts, almonds, they have a protection. But as soon as you open up that sealed package, air can get in and the product starts its decomposition. So if you do buy the 2-kilogram tub of almonds, you open it, you serve yourself or your family, whatever, and then you close it and you put it back up in the cupboard, and you keep doing that, and this 2-kilogram tub lasts you 6 months. The product is going to decompose. It's going to rot. So my suggestion would be to have some kind of smaller container, have your quantity of almonds or nuts or dried fruit in this container. When it's empty, then you fill it back up. In the meantime, put the remaining almonds into the fridge, or better yet, into the freezer, and it'll conserve much better. If your fridge or freezer doesn't have space for this tub, you can transfer it into a plastic bag or even individual plastic bags to maintain the freshness of the product. What I do is, because I don't have a fridge, I buy small quantities. I'll buy 100 grams or 200 grams of the nuts and the seeds that I want, and I'll keep them in my bedroom because it's always about 5 degrees colder than out here, because it has a fallen ceiling to protect it from the heat. Here there's an aluminum roof which absorbs and transfers a lot of the heat. I'm living in the tropics, so many days are very hot. So that's a suggestion if you buy the larger quantities of nuts or seeds or dried fruit, which makes sense because it's cheaper than buying smaller quantities. Many of the bulk food stores, you can buy small quantities, put it in a bag, and have that as your option, and go back to the store every 2 or 3 weeks once you finish the quantity you've bought. So that's it for today. I'm going to enjoy this breakfast, and many different options you can put into your oats. I also had a great idea. If you enjoy these flavored teas, what you can do is in a cup, put boiling water, put your desired flavor of tea, let it steep for 10, 15, half an hour, 10, 15 minutes or half an hour, and then use that into your porridge instead of just using plain water. That was a new idea that came to me. I don't like the flavor. You've seen, if you've watched other videos, I don't add any other spices except salt. But cinnamon goes really nice with apple and with porridge. Nutmeg. Sometimes I'll use ginger root in my meals. Experiment. Experiment with different flavors. You probably have different members in your family who like different flavors. So you can have the spices on one side, and whoever wants cinnamon gets a bit of cinnamon. Whoever wants nutmeg gets a bit of nutmeg, clove, and enjoy the breakfast. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.